It's fine. Welcome to the January 21st, 2025 Planning Commission hearing. Let's please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any media people here tonight? If so, speak up. Please turn off your cell phones to make sure they're silent during the meeting. Announcement for Zoom attendees. Those joining tonight's meeting via Zoom will automatically be muted upon entry, and you will need to identify your full name if not already attached. If you wish to speak, please click on the raise your hand. I did that on that. Raise your hand and feature located on the reaction icon at the bottom of your screen. The remainder, please, gentlemen and ladies, speak into the microphone so everybody can hear you. And
so as you three, I guess right in the middle, notice we do have 3 new members. We're very excited. So I don't know if you want to start. Terry, maybe just introduce yourself, and I know you know some of them, but maybe not everyone.
I'm Terry Brock. I've been in Sutherland for a few years now. I have the body shop Total Fitness, me and my wife, and involved in a lot of things around Sutherland. I think this is going to be a great fit for me. Thank you.
And then Rosalind.
Yeah, so Rosalind Mock, and grew up here in Sutherland, also resident. Really excited to join you on the planning commission. A background in community economic development, and so excited just to get involved and hear what's happening.
good to have you.
And then Tom.
Yeah, Tom Williams, I've lived here forever. Pretty much. And I'm just really interested to, get a little bit more involved in the community and help out where I can.
Good to have you.
Yeah, that'd be
We strong-armed him one day in the office.
pretty.
Walked in at the wrong time or the right time.
Thank you guys for volunteering. It's nice to have a somewhat full
Yes.
commission.
The election of the chair. So we have anybody who wants to
Any nominations or?
nomination? I mean, I'd stay, but it's up to you if you want me to.
I'll nominate Tom.
I'll second that. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, how long is that position?
1 year.
1 year.
That's the length of Mike and I's term. 1 years.
So we'll vote on that. Commissioner Brock.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hogsett.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Mock.
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw.
Yes.
And Chair Banducci.
Yes.
And then Vice Chair.
Okay, vice chair. Who was vice chair before?
Norm Davidson.
He's not here.
Right, he moved.
How long do you have to be on the committee to be a nominee?
I don't think there's a set time frame. So if you're familiar with running a meeting in the absence of the chair, if you'd be comfortable with that, it could be you.
I would nominate Roger.
Is there any?
Like,
Any
how
other-
we did that?
I was thinking you're gonna nominate yourself. I mean, is anyone,
I'll second.
are you okay with that?
Sure. Happy to.
Oh, do you-
See, now you're stuck here and
Now it's
not.
official.
We like to just move along. Okay. Commissioner Brock,
Yes.
Commissioner Hogsett,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Mott? Yes. Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
And Chair Banducci?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, moving on, 2024 year in review.
We missed the minutes.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
You're getting too
You're right.
excited.
Okay, September 17th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Has anyone had a chance to read and review the minutes?
Yeah, so even though you three new people weren't at the meeting, as long as you've read the minutes and understand them, you are able to vote on them if you feel comfortable to.
Do I have a motion? I move that we accept the minutes as presented. Second,
I second that.
Commissioner Brock.
Aye.
Commissioner Hogsett.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Mock.
Yep.
Commissioner Shaw
aye.
and Chair Banducci.
Aye. Monthly activity report. Has everyone reviewed the enclosed monthly activity report?
Oh,
That was
now,
sent
now
out.
we gotta do the year in review.
The review, yeah, I'm done. Okay. good
You're
deal.
really trying to get him his ice cream.
Let you go.
So in your packets, there was a couple pages, we like to kind of give an overview of the year, even though each planning commission, each month that we have planning commission, we send you the next item, which is that monthly activity report, which kind of has a lot of these things kind of captured in it, what's kind of going on that month. But this is kind of the year overall, kind of how many meetings we had. Obviously, you know, Chrissy's required to attend every city council meeting. Sometimes Brandy and I are, we do urban renewal. We go to trainings, we're webinars, we're kind of got our hands in everything. Whether we like it or not. And so. Is there anything you? So that's just something for you guys to kind of look at, like, kind of what we've approved, what we've done this last year, some of the items. Some of the. Things we're involved in.
I really enjoyed talking to Chris yesterday about, yesterday or the day before, I don't remember anymore. I think it was yesterday, about the housing project. And you kind of really brought it up to date. I thought it was very interesting how far we are and where we're headed and that type of thing. So could I ask you to talk about it?
What did I say? No.
You were good.
So, are all of you familiar with the Oak Street Commons housing project? So this project kind of has come to fruition with the needs, for housing and the lack of, housing available, whether it's rent, lease, own, that is affordable to the workforce. This isn't high end, it's not low end, it's kind of that in the middle. And so, gosh, how long ago, when was that first meeting? Rosalind actually was at it at Evergreen, and it was kind of this, stakeholder meeting, who would be interested, who wants to be at the table, what does it look like, what information do you need to come to the table? So we've started at ground zero, and we were able to apply for and receive $2.86 million for infrastructure monies to start putting water, sewer, streets, well, storm, not the street, but in the ground on the kind of, what does that look like? So we brought an engineer in, they have kind of given us that conceptual drawing. Tomorrow actually is our first advertisement for an engineer on that portion of the project to seek an engineer. So we have engineers of record that we can pull from. So that got us started. Now, because of the size of the contract, we have to get go out for a request for proposals for engineers to submit their proposals to us for us to select one that we will, it'll be the design, construction and design, engineering and construction management of this project. So with that, we're going to select that, we're also gonna be working with DEQ. We've invited them in because we know there's some environmental impacts and what those look like. We wanna make sure they're at the table now, so we're not blindsided by something later on, or they bring something new to the table. So we'll be meeting with them. I wanted to say this month, but I'm not sure that we've got it on the.
We're still waiting to hear back.
Say February-ish, we'll have a meeting with DEQ. And then that, as we continue to evolve, we've got a task force that is helping us advise the council. There's stakeholders coming to the table, and I think we're to a point now that we need to kind of create this brochure flyer that gives some of the perspectives of the total cost, what this looks like, how much it's gonna cost for somebody to invest in, and what their lease opportunities would be. Things have been brought up such as the land trust, so the property would be in a land trust, but then the people would own the homes. Whether it's employer owned, the employers could buy, so then just use like the medical facilities, if they needed to buy an apartment complex, they could do that, so then they can go out and kind of have their students come through, rent the spaces for 6 months, whatever, and then they can move on through their journey as the next group comes through, and then that helps guarantee those employers the housing for their employees. So trying to keep it local within Douglas County, I'm gonna say, for the employers within Douglas County, and moving down the paths that everyone is guiding us to. We'll be having town halls coming up. We're just a little too early yet. We've purchased the property that is located off of Oak Street, behind the trust company, north of the trust company, to spearhead this project. And so we will at least be working on getting some of the behind the scenes work that installing should say, drawing them on maps, the water sewer lines, that kind of thing. So,
Is the city gonna be actual developer?
no. So that's where the stakeholders come in and their investments. And then the funding that we've received is for the bipartisan
Yeah, it's a Senate Bill 1530.
funding that we've received so far, and it looks like we might be getting some more.
How many units are proposed?
Oh my goodness. Where did? Yeah,
There's
just
2 9-plexes, a 4-plex, and I wanna say 35.
35 or 36 single family dwellings and like 17, 18 cottages.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
So we're doing mixed housing, so we're doing the smaller, floor plan cottages with the single family dwellings, and then 2 9-plex and a 4-plex. And then a community center.
And Chrissy, this is, from what I understand, this is workforce housing, not transition housing.
Correct. It is definitely not the transitional housing, that is different money, and, well, we haven't even been able to access that yet.
Thank you, Justin.
We're looking at the city council meeting.
Mhm.
Where do we stand with the Dakota Street signal? Is that on by?
We actually have a meeting in the next week or two with ODOT, so we are still moving forward. We've got a request for proposal, getting the scope of work from them, and so it is still moving forward. It's just that's it.
Will that be funded by the city or by ODOT?
Well, it has to be funded by the city, so how it all will function through the city, because if we don't, then it kicks in a whole new federal set of guidelines. Where if we run the project, we can run it still to code, still with the same labor standards, but they just have a little bit different. And Brandy do little different standards that we have to build it to, you could say, when you touch that federal money.
So there's a saying that when you introduce federal dollars to a project, it doesn't taint the project, but it federalizes the whole project. It doesn't matter which part of the project, they look at it as a whole. So even if they're only funding this part of it, the rules and guidelines apply to the whole project.
You turn the page and you go, ODOT development and makes it 132. You know, and signal in Dakota Street.
So we were awarded what's called a TGM grant, Transportation Growth Management Grant, and that is to help facilitate some of the internal circulation. Dakota Street currently does not cross the intersection.
Right.
It's a three-way, it'll be four. And then to connect all of those the properties that have the development potential on the south side of 138.
Okay.
And what that looks like, plus all of these conditions back from, I'm gonna say 2000, when the Alaska Solar Mills properties was annexed. It's a nightmare from conditions from then till today. So it's to help clean up those conditions and facilitate the improvements over there. Without the first person that comes and asks us a question, I'm sorry, you have to install a signal to the interstate. It's not really a warm, welcoming greeting, so we've been kind of trying to help facilitate that. Well, I've been here since 2013 and I've been working on it since.
Good to-
Do you know for the workforce housing project, like just as someone new to the community, what you'll need from us? Or if you, like what our role will be in that as the planning commission or anything we speak of, that would be helpful?
Coming soon to a meeting near you. So this is a pretty light agenda, as you've probably noticed. So we processed the initial plan amendment zone change applications. That property will require, because it is currently zoned to light industrial, we will need to take it to a heavy industrial or to a multifamily residential. And so this is the first stop of that plan amendment zone change.
So you guys will be making that recommendation to city council on that application.
So what's that, a couple months out?
Could
2,
be
3, yeah. Not quite sure. It are because of the timing of those applications, they DLCD requires
35-day notice.
Yeah, and so, and then we're also probably going to do a traffic analysis, and so that'll take time too.
Didn't they do one just recently? There was a contractor that did a study of 138.
There's been several done now on that side, but since this property is over here, it would require those intersections that are applicable.
Each project requires a different scope of work for that analysis.
And so is the city putting together the applicant, who's the applicant for transitioning from light industry to multifamily?
On the housing,
Yeah,
it'll be, the city will be the applicant, yes, but we're actually gonna have a land use consultant that we're working with to process that, so then there's not a conflict on processing the application.
Hmm?
I have no more.
Oh,
Thank you very much. Any other questions right now? So nobody has any questions
and then, so the monthly activity report,
for the monthly activity report, so done.
that's kind of what we touched base on, that we like to send these out to you guys and also city council, just to kind of give you that monthly update of what's kind of going on in our world. Keep you up to date on projects. Some stay on here for years on end, sadly. But then they finally drop off like Ford's Pond.
And not for a water treatment plant.
Yeah.
Is there, somebody asked me the other day about all the housing going on. I read one time a place where there was a 5-year plan for building another water tower or water tank above, up by the one that's already up on the hill there. Is that still in the 5-year plan or 7-year plan,
20. It's in the 20-year plan.
the 20-year plan?
We have a water master plan that identifies that.
Okay, so they are looking at building another tank up there?
At some point, yes.
That would not be the city, that would be the developer.
No, it's the same.
Not this.
Well, it's in our master plan, but if a development triggers it, it could be on the developer.
It can be.
Good question, or to find out.
Any other questions? Public comments. The purpose of public comment is to allow citizens to present information regarding items off the agenda. A time limit of 3 minutes per citizen shall apply.
Sure.
Please state your name and address, please.
Brett Hunsaker, 1972, Ridgeview Drive, beautiful Sutherland. I was just wondering if I could be reminded of the time frame for the Waite Street construction, if anybody has any thoughts on that, don't bring that up as Christie chicken, and don't talk about that, Never mind, I'll just wait and see.
Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. We were not awarded that grant as, they changed staff and what we were told in years past did not hold true. So anyway, it's engineered now. And so I'm finding a way. It needs it.
It's not a big hole.
Well, as of right now, but, it's not over.
Is it the wetland part that's holding things up?
So,
No, it's the money.
so what they're referring to is on your activity report, there was the Waite Street improvements, and that was a Safe Routes to School grant. That the city was told in the years prior, if you were to go out and do the engineering, the design, you would pretty much be guaranteed this grant. Well, staff changed and we did that and we weren't successful. I think that was just.
Well, they haven't formally, the Oregon Transportation Commission has not formally announced it yet. But they've had all of those meetings leading up to with the selection committee and they've selected their projects and ours was not even on the list this time.
A lot of money there for that low rate street.
Yeah, it's about because of how badly it's damaged and highly trafficked and so it's.
Bridge and everything,
Yeah.
or a walkway or a bike.
We were going down the route of the multi-use path,
Mhm.
adjacent to it because the street's actually not in the middle of the street. So, and then to not, with the bridge in there, trying to realignment, but line it, the cost would be outside of a lot. So, wetlands are part of it, but we have a mitigation site, prepared over at Forts Pond or identified. So we will be addressing those wetlands in order to move forward. So we're gonna keep plugging away and it's gotta get rebuilt before it's, crumbled down into other people's yards.
I got one more question. It's, the package gives a right of way application.
Mhm.
Is that with people wanting to build a right of way or have access as the right of way or?
A lot of times it's the utility companies doing work within the public right of way.
Okay.
So that's the majority of them. There are some people that want to do a new driveway. Or they're building something, like they're an RV driveway or something that requires it, but. I would say the majority of those are all public utility agencies. Mhm.
Any other comments? I'd like to read this to you for us. I recognize that you, as a commissioner or staff member, want to provide information to the public during the public comment portion in order to allow everyone the opportunity to participate and have their 3 minutes. I ask you, the commission and staff, not to speak, respond, or interrupt the person speaking. So that was put in, we read that, I think, the last time, and it's an important step. So there's not a lot of confusion and time becomes 3 minutes, becomes 20 minutes, so it's just a good thing to do.
And we typically, when we have hearings, we'll have a clock that will run, just so it's fair to all of those that talk. I don't think Brent went over his 3 minutes by a long shot, so.
I don't even check the clock on your.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Commissioner comments, any?
Question, so for the park master plan, it sounds like the RFP was advertised and then was someone selected, or I guess the deadline was just passed, and so then what will the roles of planning commission be on that? For the
Do you want to speak to that, Brandon?
Yeah, I don't think the planning commission has a role in selection of the consultant for the Parks Master Plan. This is again, one of those plans that we have to have that kind of directs our planning for the next 20 years in our park system. So ours is currently 20 years old. So it's time for a new one. Yeah.
One of them will be on the interview panel.
Oh, yes, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, one of you guys will be on the interview panel. So once we have the deadline for the RFPs to be submitted, we'll go through them and decide whether or not we need to have some interviews. And if it's decided that we do, we'll reach out and have one of the planning commissioners on the selection committee.
Are you interested in that, or would anyone like to
Volunteer?
participate?
I'd like to either myself, and if not myself, Roger, pretty savvy in this line of business. To be a part of that, and if it's possible to have two, you got nothing else to do, right?
Well, and you have the Parks Committee role, so
Mhm.
you could do be the Parks and she could do the Planning Commission.
We'd like to get several people that are reviewing these RFPs in it, so it'd be participating in the selection totality of it. And so
So is all the members of the planning commission going to look at it and just review it, make comments, or?
So this is just the proposals. We will have, there'll be more public involvement and we'll bring updates and have more of it at the public meeting as we are moving forward in it. This is specific to the selection committee. So there's I think 5 or 7 people that are on the selection committee, to hire the consultant. So whether it's an architect or engineer firm, that apply.
So the deadline for the proposals is January 30th. And the interviews, if they're held, will be held on or around February 11th.
Any more questions?
We didn't steer anyone away from